With 13 games left in the Premier League and the title already being Man City's, the most exciting thing in the league right now is the race for the top 4 positions. At the start of this season, if you said that teams like Leicester, West Ham and Everton would be challenging for the top 4, people would have thought you'd be mental. But that's exactly how it's gone this season, and it's left clubs like Chelsea, Liverpool and Tottenham with a huge uphill struggle to gain Champions League qualification for next season. Last year's champions, Liverpool, have definitely been the biggest disappointment of this year's Premier League. After storming away with last year's title, a lot of people expected them to retain it this season, but all it took was one injury to their leader at the back, Virgil van Dijk, and they were all at sea. To be fair, Liverpool have been really unlucky with injuries this season. They've been riddled with them, especially at the centre-back position. They've had 18 different centre-back partnerships this year. There's been no continuity in that position, and that's been Jurgen Klopp's biggest problem. But even taking into account their injury crisis, the performances have just not been good enough from Liverpool. After going nearly 2 years unbeaten at Anfield, they've lost 4 in a row at home, against the likes of Burnley, Brighton, Man City, and maybe worst of all, their city rivals Everton. And in the last few months, they've struggled to score goals. The only player they can rely on is Mo Salah, and if he doesn't score for Liverpool, it doesn't look like anyone else is going to. Jurgen Klopp has got a big job on his hands to claw Liverpool into the top 4. There's rumours going around that Liverpool want to sign Kylian Mbappe this summer, and they desperately need Champions League football if they want any chance of that happening. Although it looks bad now for Liverpool, I do think that Jurgen Klopp can claw them back up, and I think that they will just scrape top 4 this season. I predict a 4th place finish, and it might even come down to the final day. Just popping in to say, if you're enjoying my content, make sure to subscribe, it will really help me out. Right, back to the video. Another big team that maybe we expected to do a little bit better this season is Chelsea. In the summer, when they spent nearly 200 million on the likes of Thiago Silva, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, a lot of people were saying that they were title contenders. People were saying the signings of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz could propel them to a title, and it's actually been the complete opposite. If anything, them 2 signings have held Chelsea back this season. When Werner was brought in from Leipzig in the summer, people expected him to be a 25 goal a season striker, but he has not been that for Chelsea. He started off his Chelsea career pretty decent, but then it got to November and he went on a huge goal drought. He didn't score for over 3 months in the league, and he only broke that duct last weekend against Newcastle. And Kai Havertz has hardly even played for Chelsea, and when he has, he's looked very disappointed. To give him the benefit of the doubt, he did have COVID, and a lot of people say that he still feels the effects of that, and I do still think the both of them could come good, but they just haven't done it for Chelsea this season. Since Frank Lampard was sacked in January and Thomas Tuchel came in, Chelsea have been on a great run of form. They're unbeaten under Tuchel, and his tactics seem to be working so far for Chelsea. In their last 5 matches, they've won 4 and drawn 1, and that means they're only 2 points behind West Ham, who's sitting 4th. A key part to see if Chelsea make top 4 this season is the form of Mason Mount. He's been incredible for them in the middle this season, and I'd say he's been their best player. He's contributed to quite a few goals and assists in the Chelsea team, and everything good that Chelsea does comes through him in the middle. If Mason Mount can keep fit, and if Tuchel can get Werner firing for Chelsea, there's definitely a chance they make top 4. But I think Chelsea will just miss out on the top 4 and Champions League football for next year. I think Tuchel is doing something really good with a great group of players, and I think next year they could have a really good squad and he maybe even challenge for the title. But I think this year they'll just end up missing out on top 4 and finished in the first Europa League spot in 5th position. Leicester City's really good season has somewhat gone under the radar in the English press. They're level on points with Man United and they sit in 3rd position, and they look really strong to hang on in and get Champions League football. Brendan Rodgers' Leicester plays an attacking, exciting brand of football, and they have the perfect blend of experience and youth in their squad. England youngsters Harvey Barnes and James Justin have stepped up this season for Leicester and cemented themselves as top players in the league. In midfield, you've got Yuri Tielemans and James Maddison pulling the strings and sending perfect through balls for the onrushing Vardy up front. The 34-year-old Jamie Vardy doesn't seem like he's slowing down in any way, and this season he's contributed with 12 goals and 5 assists in 21 games. The difference this season for Leicester has been how solid they are at the back, and that's thanks to the 20-year-old Frenchman Wesley Fofana. After joining Leicester from Saint Etienne in the summer, No one really expected him to be this good. He's been one of, if not the signing of the season. His agility and pace have got Leicester out of a lot of trouble, and he's now a mainstay in that Leicester defence. Leicester were in a very similar position this time last year. They were fighting for the top 4, and they were a good few points ahead of the people that were trying to catch up to them. But in the end, they bottled it. But this season, I don't think Brendan Rodgers will allow his men to do the same. They're a lot more focused and they're playing a lot better football this season, and that's why I think they're going to finish 3rd in the Premier League. West Ham, for me, have been the biggest surprise of this Premier League season. At the start of the season, a lot of people predicted them to go down, including me, and David Moyes was the bookies' favourites to be the first manager sacked. And after they lost 2-0 to Newcastle on the opening day, everyone thought that was it. They're going down, David Moyes is finished. But they turned it around since then. David Moyes has turned West Ham into a team that nobody in the league wants to play. West Ham's most important players this season are the 2 midfielders, Thomas Souček and Declan Rice. Rice and Souček have been incredible this season for West Ham. Rice sits a little bit deeper, covering the defence, and he's a good passer of the ball, while Souček gets involved in the attack. He's great from any set piece, and he's chipped in with 8 goals this season. Up front, West Ham used the skill and pace of Jared Bowen and Said Benrahma to get in behind defences, and they're crossing the ball into Mikhail Antonio, who's having another great season, and he pops up with important goals at important times. David Moyes is doing such a good job at West Ham this season, he's even managed to revive the career of the man, the myth, the legend that is Lingardinho. He's only been at West Ham a couple of weeks, and he's already managed to get 3 goals, 1 assist, and 1 full dance choreography that would have made Roy Keane smash his head off a brick wall. As good as West Ham have been doing this season, I don't think they have enough squad depth to challenge for the top 4, but I do think they'll finish in 6th position and secure a Europa League spot for next season. Everton are finally having a decent season that their fans can be happy about. Ever since Everton have had money in their club, they've been threatening to have a good season and push for a European spot, but they've never had the right recruitment or manager to do this. But that all changed when they brought in a 3 times Champions League winner in Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti came in and revolutionised this Everton team. He brought in his own players in Alan and James Rodriguez, and it's worked out perfectly for him this season. As well as bringing in his players, he's revived the careers of many players that were already at Everton. You look at the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Tom Davies, Seamus Coleman. They've all become much better players under Ancelotti, and they only have room to continue to grow. Last weekend, Everton won their first Merseyside derby at Anfield for 21 years, and that really signals that Ancelotti is going in the right direction with this Everton team. I think this Everton team has a lot of potential for the future. I don't think this is their year to get Champions League football, but I do think they'll finish 7th, and I do think they'll end up getting a Europa League spot, which is pretty good for Everton. Ancelotti has a really good project going here at Everton, and if he's given the resources and money to advance this squad, he could bring them to the top of English and European football. So there's my prediction in who will finish in the top 4 of the Premier League this season. Let me know down below who you think is going to finish in the top 4. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, it would really help me out. And I'll see you guys in the next video.